Hello, welcome to Botanical Night. This is a night on May 24th, and I'm showing you Cymbidium, one of the wonderful Asian orchids. Actually, well, I was a bit lazy because I thought, okay, orchids are flowering very long time. That, by the way, their primary feature, so they flower maybe for months. And Cymbidium started to flower in Kyoto in February. And I still thought, okay, I still have time to make a video about Cymbidium. But today is the end of May. And suddenly I realized that soon Cymbidium might stop flowering for some time. Well, fortunately I found the plant which I can show you. So Cymbidium start to flower in February and still some of them flowering in May. A very long time. This feature of orchids probably connected with very highly specialized pollination. So if only some particular insect can pollinate your flowers, then you need to flower for a very long time to allow pollinators to find your flower and finally pollinate it. That's a typical explanation of why orchids are flowering so long. But Cymbidium is famous orchid in the way of cultivation. Because like orchid mania in Europe started in 19th century, especially in England. John Lindley, famous English botanist, was one of the starters of that orchid mania in the Kew Gardens and many other places. People start to cultivate orchids. But long, thousands of years before, in China, orchids started to be cultivated as ornamental plants, and they were Cymbidiums. Cymbidium is an Asian genus of orchids. Comparing with some other genera of that giant family, it's small, 100 species, even less. But there are lots of hybrids and varieties, because there is another feature of orchids, probably also related with specialized pollinators. Because orchids are very frequently have very low barriers for hybridization. Normally, if you pollinate one plant with the pollen of another species, this will not result in anything. But in orchids, very frequently, species to species, and sometimes even genus to genus, amazing, hybridization will result in plants which grow and even produce some viable seeds. Amazing. And Cymbidium, of course, was only hybridized until number of varieties of Cymbidium is now much higher than number of natural species. Cymbidium was highly popular in China and consequently started to be popular in Japan. In Japan, in the beginning of first 1,000 years of its culture, many things were taken from China. And one of them was Cymbidium, still frequently cultivated on the streets of Kyoto. Because there is another feature of Cymbidium. Cymbidium is extremely cold tolerant orchid. So orchid which doesn't need a greenhouse to be cultivated. In February here was extremely cold. Night temperatures in Kyoto can be, well, very frequently below zero. But Cymbidium can flower even in these conditions. This is very interesting and unusual for many orchids which are strictly tropical plants and typically requires very constant temperature, about like 130 centigrades and high humidity. So Cymbidium is good plant for cultivation even on the streets of these warm temperate countries like middle of Japan, like here in Kyoto. And as usual, orchids are not very famous for anything except ornamental use. But Cymbidium also used as a medicine. Some species are available in Chinese pharmacopoeia. So this is also interesting application of Cymbidium. Again, Cymbidium still flowers in Kyoto. Cymbidium is very famous and extremely old orchid in terms of cultivation. Today is May 24th. Thank you very much.